Hello and welcome to this edition of FYI Weekly, your official source for City of Greensboro news and information. After a summer of hard work to slow the spread of COVID-19, Governor Roy Cooper announced North Carolina will take a modest step forward and move into Phase 2.5. According to the governor, Safer at Home Phase 2.5 continues our state's dimmer switch approach to easing some restrictions. We can do this safely only if we keep doing what we know works, wearing face covers and social distancing. Entering a new phase is exactly when we need to take this virus even more seriously. Several restrictions will ease up in Phase 2.5. For example, mass gathering limits will increase to 25 people indoors and 50 people outdoors. Public playgrounds will open. Museums, aquariums, and the Greensboro Science Center can allow 50% capacity. Gyms and indoor exercise facilities such as yoga studios, martial arts, and rock climbing, as well as skating rinks, bowling alleys, indoor basketball, volleyball, etc., may open at 30% capacity. Restrictions remain the same for bars, nightclubs, movie theaters, indoor entertainment facilities, amusement parks, and dance halls. They will remain closed. Large venues remain subject to the mass gathering limits. The State Department of Health issued a secretarial order allowing for outdoor visitation at nursing homes or skilled nursing facilities. For a list of changes to city facilities and services, please visit the COVID-19 page of the city's website. Creative Greensboro Office of Arts and Culture will award $60,000 through a new Catalyzing Creativity grant program. Applicants may request up to 50% of project expenses, equivalent to up to $10,000. The funds will provide financial support to nonprofits or individuals to engage historically marginalized communities through creative programs. Founded in 2019, Creative Greensboro provides support for, ensures access to, and drives awareness of Greensboro's creative community. The Catalyzing Creativity Grants program aligns with one of the strategies of the city's Master Arts Plan. Greensboro Chief Creative Economy Officer Ryan Deal says this opportunity is designed to support organizations and individual creative professionals who regularly engage with communities of color, low-income neighborhoods, and/or people with disabilities. Applicants must be Guilford County based with a creative program or project that will happen in Greensboro. Program categories include natural sciences, history, architecture, technology, visual arts, performing arts, and literature. Organizations awarded cash or in-kind support from the City of Greensboro valued at $5,000 or more within the last 12 months are not eligible to apply. The deadline to apply for a Catalyzing Creativity grant is Friday, October 30th. Applications are available on the Creative Greensboro website. The clock is winding down as the U.S. Census will end field data collection by the end of this month. That is 4 weeks earlier than originally planned. Self-response options will also close by September 30th to allow data processing to begin. Under this plan, the Census Bureau intends to meet a similar level of household responses as collected in prior census years, including outreach to hard-to-count communities. To date, more than 90 million homes, which accounts for nearly 63% of all households in the nation, have responded to the 2020 census. Building on its successful and innovative internet response option, the Census Bureau staff, including temporary workers who will be deployed in communities across the country in the coming weeks, will work diligently to achieve an accurate count. The Census Bureau relies on the support of hundreds of thousands of community-based business, state, local, and tribal partners contributing to these efforts across our nation. The 2020 census impacts every American. If you know someone who has not yet responded, please encourage them to complete the census today, online, over the phone, or by mail. Be sure to check out the interactive map on the city's website to track neighborhood response to the U.S. Census. The interactive map is updated daily with response rates from the Federal Census Bureau. In an effort to help each of us improve our quality of life, the city developed a partnership with Cone Health to share a series of brief and informative videos designed to inspire you to make better choices when it comes to healthy living. Let's take a moment to check out today's News for Your Health.
Toddler temper tantrums can take more of a toll on parents than the child. So we're here to talk about some survival tips for parents to get you through those tantrums. Even though we think of tantrums as occurring randomly or unpredictably, there actually always is a trigger. Some common triggers to look for in your child would be when a child is getting hungry, when they're overtired, in times of making a big transition, like going to or coming home from school or daycare, or even making that transition at bedtime to sleep. Other children might be triggered by hearing the word no. Some interventions to think about that you might be able to put in place would include things like having snacks available for your child, making sure they have naps, helping smooth out transition time by developing a routine for certain transitions that might involve a little bit of a calming activity. And for the child who doesn't like to hear no, giving your child a couple of choices when appropriate, where either choice would be acceptable to you, can give a child that feeling of control that would help them in those situations. Sometimes you might be able to tell that your child is getting ready to crank up into a full-blown temper tantrum. Some things that you might want to look for in your child would be if your child is starting to become whiny, or if they're expressing anger, either just with their facial expression or their body language, or with some verbalization, might be words or even just sounds that they make when they're getting real frustrated. If you notice those and you're thinking in the back of your mind, uh-oh, here it comes, then you have a chance to step in and distract your child. Things that can help with distraction would be using humor, even getting a little silly with your child, singing a song or using music, engaging them in one of their favorite play activities, or giving them one of their favorite comfort toys. The next thing we have to consider is, what do we do when the temper tantrum is going? Any heightened emotional response from you will only fan the fire, and it will cause those behaviors to escalate, and the tantrum will be prolonged. In addition to staying calm, you want to disengage from the child when they're in the throes of their temper tantrum. We disengage physically by moving the child into their room or some other designated area in the house, or by ourselves just walking away and getting some physical separation from the child. We want to disengage verbally from the child, which means don't talk to, reason with, plead, or argue with your child when they're in the middle of a tantrum. Any attention that you're giving the child during a tantrum only reinforces that behavior. And you can't reason with a child when they're in that heightened emotional state. And then you also want to disengage emotionally. And we do that the best by remembering to stay calm. Finally, when the tantrum has passed, that's when you want to go to the child. Give them positive attention at that time. Give them hugs, comfort, soothing words. You are not reinforcing the tantrum behavior. You can also at that time start to give them some words to use to identify the feelings that might go along with the tantrum. For example, you might say to your child, "Oh, you sure were angry just then." And just by saying that each time there's a tantrum, you're beginning to teach them that there are words for these feelings. And over time, as they get older, they'll be able to use their words to tell you what's happening instead of having to act it out behaviorally and emotionally. And finally, when the tantrum is over, let it be over and move forward through the day with your child in a very positive way. I'm Dr. Kim Hoover. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope this information has been helpful. To learn more about services that might be helpful for you and your child, visit conehealth.com/children. Thank you.
As the governor moves the state to the next level of returning to normalcy, the city is beginning to reinstate fees for code compliance cases. We'll have that story and more news coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. Plus One is a joint effort between United Way of Greater Greensboro and the City of Greensboro, seeking to match employers with Greensboro youth ages 16 to 24. Young people in that age group looking for a job but happen to be in need of a resume will want to register to learn how to create a winning resume. There will be a free virtual workshop hosted on Tuesday, September 15th from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Topics covered in the workshop include how to highlight experience and skills, determine your resume style, and tips for eye-catching resumes. This event is made possible through collaboration with Goodwill Industries of Central North Carolina. Register online by Monday, September 14th. The Technology and Data Institute has posted a new request for proposal, or RFP, seeking partners to help bring free high-speed, high-quality internet access for all students from pre-kindergarten through postdoctoral studies. The internet service would be installed in the 12-county Piedmont region thanks to a partnership between educational and government organizations. The Technology and Data Institute, a public service consortium of public entities, including the City of Greensboro, Guilford County, North Carolina A&T State University, UNC Greensboro, and Guilford County Schools, was created for the explicit purpose of providing capacity, technology, and data readiness to the region. This first phase is focused exclusively on the design, construction, and implementation of a network prototype that addresses areas of highest student connectivity need in Guilford County. Highest need areas are identified as those where very poor or no internet access exists or where internet services are not affordable for students. The RFP for the Pervasive Digital Access Network project can be viewed online. Responses are due by Wednesday, September 9th, and should be sent to the UNCG Procurement Office. The Code Compliance Division is reinstating the assessment and accrual of civil penalties and reinspection fees effective immediately. This is associated with active residential and non-residential code cases. These charges had been suspended at the beginning of April as a way to prevent additional hardships caused by COVID-19. City code compliance inspectors have continued to conduct required inspections to make sure conditions of structures are safe, all while maintaining 6 feet of social distancing. Property owners and contractors also have continued to make repairs and perform maintenance on structures since the state declared these as essential functions. For more information about the penalties and fees, the Neighborhood Development Department can be reached at 336-373-2111. Election season is in high gear, and one City of Greensboro department is the driving force behind a nonpartisan voter registration drive. Coming up after the break, find out how Greensboro Transit Agency hopes to make a difference for its riders. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. The Greensboro Transit Agency has taken the initiative to spearhead a voter awareness and registration drive in advance of early voting, which starts on Thursday, October 15th. Joining me now to tell us the goal of this civic engagement opportunity is Kevin Elwood. He oversees marketing and communications for GTA. Hello, Kevin. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you, Carla. Good to be here.
Always good to see you. Tell me, how did this voter registration concept come to be?
Well, for years, GTA has recognized the importance of community participation when it comes to voting, because voting, of course, affects many life-changing decisions that are made through the election, including education, employment, and even public transportation. Transportation can be a barrier for the community sometimes when it comes to voting, and so that's why we, along with other transit systems in the Triad area, are going fare-free, or will continue to be fare-free for Election Day this year. But because of the importance of this election as well, we decided we wanted to take it a step further in terms of educating our riders.
Wonderful. And fare-free is really important because, as you said, you don't want people to be in a situation where they wanted to get to the polls, but they just couldn't get there.
Exactly.
And I'm guessing that's one of the issues that you're bringing awareness to. And what else are you trying to educate people about as they get on the bus?
Well, again, transportation can be a major barrier to people voting, but we also recognize that another barrier of education, and especially in the days of not knowing what's true, what's false. And so what we wanted to do was to make sure that we kept to our responsibility to not only educate about being able to get to the polls, but also to help people to understand their rights and responsibilities when it comes to voting. And so we're using this opportunity to provide information to them and this covers the gamut of voting information, ranging from the general, like where do I vote, how do I register, etc., to even topical subjects when it comes to the elections, such as voter ID.
Okay, and that's all put together in what's called a voter access guide. So are you going to have physical copies of the guide available?
Yes, actually, we have a website at ridegta.com that we've called Election Station. And when you visit that site, you'll be able to see the different information pieces and resources that we put together that has come straight from Guilford County Board of Elections and also from the North Carolina Board of Elections that covers the gambit of election information people may want to know. In addition, we've created a Voters Access Guide, which not only spotlights information on voting, how to register, all of that, but also talks about how you can get to the polls using public transportation, showing the bus routes that you would use for accessing early voting, as well as what you would use for Election Day on November 3rd.
Oh, that's excellent and very convenient. Now, you are kind of doing this as a drive of sorts, so how can other groups join GTA in this effort?
Well, we, of course, would love to have community partners for this nonpartisan initiative. If there are community groups that would like to participate and partner with us, they can give us a call. They can contact me at 336-412-6309, or they can email me at kevin.elwood@greensboro-nc.gov. It's important that they contact us by Friday, September the 11th, so that we can make sure to include them in all of our promotional materials.
Okay, I'm sure you're going to get quite a few phone calls and several emails, because this is always a really important way for a community to come together as community and make sure that folks have access to the information that they need to get registered in time to be able to vote. And when will your voter registration drive wrap up? Is that September 11th, or you'll just keep going beyond that?
Well, as far as the initiative Move to the Polls, we're going to continue that throughout the election season, because we want to make sure that we're providing up-to-date, accurate information to the community. And so as information out there changes, we want to be able to address it. So we will be running this initiative through Election Day on November 3rd.
Okay, well, that's going to be here before we know it.
Yes.
It's the clock counting down as we speak. Well, thank you, Kevin Elwood. It's always good to see you, and I love how you incorporate GTA and get the buses involved in some of the more important topics that face our community, and we appreciate that initiative, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of group support.
Well, we appreciate the support that we've received so far, because one thing that we do always emphasize with GTA, and that is United We Ride, which means that together we can accomplish so much, whether it is fighting the pandemic or even when it's coming to educating our riders about election and responsibility. So we're really excited about this initiative.
Absolutely. Well, I know a couple of groups I'm going to send your way so that they can be part of this great effort.
Yes.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for some useful information about Greensboro as we tell you something about the city. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. One way to stay informed about decisions that impact our city is by attending or tuning in to City Council meetings at 5:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of the month. The fourth Tuesday is reserved for a meeting as needed. Due to COVID-19, the City Council is meeting virtually. The Greensboro City Council meetings are broadcast right here on GTN. The meetings are also streamed live on the city's website and on Roku. City Council meetings usually take place on Level 2 of the Melvin Municipal Office Building, located at 300 West Washington Street. To review the council meeting schedule and agendas, please visit the city's website. Here's an opportunity to learn a little something about the city. The City of Greensboro has closed the connector road between Country Park and the Guilford Courthouse National Military Park. The road will not be accessible to cyclists and pedestrians through December 2020. This road closure will allow construction vehicles to enter and exit the area while ensuring safety to park patrons. This impacts the current and future stages of the Greensboro Science Center renovation project. Nathaniel Green Drive from Orman Road into Country Park continues to be closed to all traffic, including pedestrians. In order to travel between the two parks, pedestrians and cyclists must use the Military Park's Winston Monument Trail near the Veterans Memorial at Country Park. Coming up after the break, we'll showcase our department spotlight, but first we have an important message regarding COVID-19.
Remember the 3 W's. Wear a cloth face mask covering, wait 6 feet from others, and wash your hands often. By working together, we can adjust to this new normal and continue to save lives.
Welcome back. The City of Greensboro has more than 20 departments and several divisions committed to serving you, our residents and visitors. Let's go behind the scenes in our department spotlight. The Greensboro Parks and Recreation Department has partnered with Summit Rotary Club to accept nominations for its Student Improvement Awards. One Guilford County middle or high school student will be honored monthly for overcoming personal obstacles and making academic progress. Nominations are due by 5 p.m. on the last day of each month from now through April 2021. Applications are available online. Winners receive a plaque, a $100 gift card, and eligibility for the Student of the Year Award. Adults who nominate the winning student will receive a $50 gift card. Nominations can be submitted by any adult who maintains regular contact with the student and has observed the student's improvement. This can include school administrators, coaches, teachers, counselors, therapists, volunteers, mentors, or someone who works with the student through a nonprofit or other government agency. For more information, call 336-373-7617 or send an email to the Student Improvement Awards Committee. Straight ahead, on the other side of the break, is this week's Way to Go GSO shout out. Stay with us. As we draw to a close, we always want to end on a positive note with our Way to Go GSO shout out. This week's shout out goes to the Greensboro Fire Department. Nearly 24 members of the Swiftwater Rescue Team made a brief trip to Baton Rouge, Louisiana in response to Hurricane Laura. Fortunately, the storm surge and water damage was less than anticipated, and the team was able to return home sooner than expected. Please remember, as more places continue to open, wear your face covering, wait 6 feet apart, and wash your hands often. That concludes this edition of FYI Weekly, but you can easily stay connected to the latest city news by linking to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Alexa users can subscribe to our 5-minute flash briefings. Be sure to download our weekly podcast, Talk City Greensboro, and now GTN is streaming on Roku. For all of us here at the City of Greensboro, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.